Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, brothers, sisters, friends, and family. Thank you, Habib, for making this a celebration. I really want to think that way about Dr. Ghazi. So I'm honored to be here tonight, this evening, in this historical event, and to talk about the life of Dr. Ghazi, and what a life it was. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant him the highest station of the garden. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide my words to say something meaningful that would impact a community of learners. Let me paint a landscape for you for just a moment. I first met the Ghazis in MCC in Chicago when I was a new Muslim. I'd come from a farm in downstate Illinois, and the Ghazis had finished their doctorates. Talk about role models. There were many young families in Chicago at that time, and temporarily the Ghazis, and remember Mary and Amir Ali, they all went to Saudi Arabia. They left a kind of a vacuum. But there were so many educators besides the Ghazis. So many people with ideas. There was Dr. Ismail, Dr. Fakhri, Dr. Kishta, Dr. Gori, Dr. Atikur Rahman, so many people in the early days, but something was different. Everyone was striving to teach the love of the Quran and the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, but what was different? What set Dr. Ghazi on a different path apart from others was he was developing a plan for curriculum. There was a dearth of educational materials in English, I can tell you, I lived it. If you didn't live it, you wouldn't realize that the material I got in 1971 was crisp yellow paper that broke from the book, came out of the spine. My English Quran in 1971, and that's 50 years ago, was $1.79 or $1.25 and 79 cents postage by Marmaduke Pickfall, by Penguin Books. There were no publishers, no one doing the work that the Ghazis took up. So because of that vision, they filled a need. Dear brothers and sisters, we needed the curriculum so badly. We needed a plan, we needed teachers. How would children learn to love the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, when they'd never met him? It would take teachers, and curriculum, and material to make that all possible. For the children like Nuzhat and Habib Qadri, like the Ghazi kids, my kids, the Alis, the Osmans, the Atikur Rahman's kids, Dilara and Dilnaz. Brothers and sisters, that was the landscape. Out of the working and the ideology of the Ghazis, we've changed that. A lifetime and a half a century. Can you imagine what it was like? So, what sort of income does a teacher make? Everyone says, might as well be a doctor, but the Ghazis lived it differently. They weren't worried about the income, they were worried about the outcome, and that's where IQRA International came in. They were worried about the outcome, and they spent their entire life on that. It was a historical moment when they announced their publication would start in the 80s. You know, and their educational life now results in thousands and thousands of children in full-time. We have nearly 300 Islamic schools and a few thousand full weekend schools. And Sunday schools are ordering all the time. Mercy to Mankind, Our Faith and Worship, 7 surahs. And if you look at the new editions today, they're in full color with companion workbooks. None of this existed before. I do have the pleasure of serving the Islamic School League of America that helps to support across the nation, you know, schools. And we always hear people say, oh, I grew up on those orange books, The Life of the Prophet. Peace and blessings be upon him. So that's Dr. Ghazi's writing. So we're so grateful as educators. I speak for the children and the teachers. You know, IQRA is a brand name. It's like Kleenex or Xerox. It's IQRA. We have to keep it, and we have to make it survive. So what is the road ahead for IQRA? IQRA International, right? We need to know that road, and I'm sure that the board has a plan. And I'm sure that they're thinking sometimes digital books. And I'm sure they're thinking about distribution and authorship, writing more books, you know. But somehow, you know, it's hard to imagine IQRA without the visionary. without the visionaries. So dear friends of IQRA, dear Ansar of IQRA, that's what Dr. Ghazi used to call us. He gave us certificates back in the very, very early days. The Ansar certificate, Seema Imam. You think about that. This is history, and time is of the essence because children are growing. And we have great challenges in the Muslim community. Children are also making other choices. So this is very important. He carried the vision far, but I ask you tonight to harness the energy in the room, and those of you online, really give this some thought and think about, is it best for IQRA to focus on writing and material development, or everything, including distribution, or get someone else to do some tasks, to be sure, absolutely sure, because time is of the essence, that this brand, IQRA, will last. And I know Sister Tassima, I visited with her recently. I know the challenge is great. I know it's huge. It will take a lot of us to fill the shoes we've been talking about tonight, all the things he knew and did. So I want us to really think about that. To him we belong, to him we belong, to him we will return. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant Dr. Ghazi the highest station of the garden and accept his work. And help us also, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are the only one who can help us to sustain the mission and the vision, because we have Islam in the West and we need Islam in English. Thank you for the opportunity to express these words tonight about Dr. Ghazi and about the educational outcome for the English-speaking Muslims in the West. Assalamu alaikum.